Hello everybody and welcome to Advanced Pharmacotherapeutics Nursing 5120 for the fall of 2025. This is Dr. Sarah Becker. This is going to be our orientation and welcome video to get us started in the course. I believe at the time of my recording this we do not have any new enrollees, so everybody coming to this class is coming straight from the summer of 2025 from our advanced pathophysiology. So welcome again to now moving on to advanced pharmacotherapeutics. We're going to talk about our introductions, our syllabus, how the course is laid out, how it's formatted, all of the policies and procedures of the course, and then we'll get it wrapped up and you guys can launch into starting for the fall of 2025. Similar to what we talked about in advanced pathophysiology, so I don't want to reintroduce myself completely, but this is my email address at Augie, my direct cell phone number to my personal cell phone. Easiest way to get a hold of me is through my email. I do ask for a 24-hour grace during the week to get back to you, and if you do email me on the weekend, it may be Monday before I get back to you. If you have something that you feel is urgent, i.e. you're about ready to have to turn in an assignment or something's happening and you really feel you need to get a hold of me faster, then please send me a text message. Even if it just says, hey, I've sent you an email, if you could please look at that as soon as possible. That would be great. The reason I ask to do that is, guys, I still do work full-time outside of what I do for Augie, and so I don't check my work email, every minute of the day during the work week. So if it's really something that's very important, please send me a text. I do want to be available to you. I know that graduate school can be very stressful, and I know you are very limited on your time. So when you are able to work on a project or an assignment or whatever it is, you want your questions answered as soon as possible. So I will try to work with you the best that I can. We're going to move into then our syllabus and get on over to our Canvas. So this is the student view of what you would see logging on to Canvas. Again, similar layout as we did last semester. You know that you're in Nursing 5120. It's listed up here. Advanced Pharmacotherapeutics. This is our home page, introduction page. So in this course, students will engage in activities designed to develop the core knowledge necessary to understand the therapeutic use of drugs in evidence-based treatment regimens for the management of acute and chronic diseases, with an emphasis on adult population patients. The information from this course will provide a foundation for making sound clinical decisions for prescribing and monitoring the effects of medications as you practice as an advanced practice nurse. So here you can get to the link of the syllabus and of our course calendar. I did, if you're listening to this before the start of class, there may have been updates, so please take another look as soon as the course starts to make sure you have the most up-to-date version of the calendar. Your course orientation video that we're doing now will be linked here, and this is talking about how the course is going to flow. So let's get into the syllabus for starters here. Of course, it always takes its sweet time sometimes to load. Alright, very similar to what we've done in the past. This is Nursing 5120, fall of 2025. I'm Dr. Becker with all of my initials there. And then getting into nursing program here, 5120 Advanced Pharmacotherapeutics. Again, our office hours will be by appointment. Please email or phone for emergency things. Again, my contact information. In order to have been now on this class, you would have had to have finished and completed advanced pathophysiology. We're going to be asynchronous via the Canvas learning platform as we were in the past. This course focuses again on developing the core knowledge needed to understand the therapeutic use of drugs in your evidence-based treatment regimens for acute and chronic disease management in adult patients. Emphasis is placed on principles of pharmacology, which include mechanisms of action, pharmacokinetics, and pharmacodynamics of major drug classes in relation to physiology, pathophysiology, and genomics. So you as students will also examine related factors that influence medication effectiveness, including safety, cost, complementary regimens, environmental influence, and then the patient's behavior. Current research data and evidence-based treatment guidelines, including the legal, ethical, and financial considerations related to prescriptive authority, will be examined. This is a 3-credit course. The course rationale: we know that pharmacology is an integral component of advanced practice nursing. To provide care, the advanced practice nurse must know the pharmacological principles to manage patients with complex health problems. And this knowledge provides the basis for critical thinking, pharmacologic reasoning, and the clinical judgments to provide care. The prescriptive authority of an advanced practice nurse requires an understanding of the ethical and legal components of pharmacotherapeutics. It goes through your student learning outcomes, how they are assessed throughout the program, which outcome and essentials for both the CNS and the NP roles are all listed there. Your required resources is the Pharmacotherapeutics for the Advanced Practice Nurse Prescribers. It's the 6th edition by Mosier Wu and Wendy Wright. Jumping over to the email site when I log in, under my login, just to see and to make sure you can see what the book looks like if you did get a physical copy. Also through Davis Edge is what you're going to need to be able to log into to get to the ebook, and it also has student resources in there as well. So this is the 6th edition Pharmacotherapeutics for the Advanced Practice Nurse Prescribers, and this is going to be what we will be using for our text this year. Jumping back over here, okay? The highly recommended resources for pharmacology is that you do get a drug resource application to run on your mobile phone. Hippocrates, Lexicomp, Micromedics, UpToDate, and Pepid are some of the ones that you could consider. Some are available within the hospital settings maybe that you work at for free. So look into what you can have options on your phone. The 2 that I use the most is Hippocrates and UpToDate. Those are the ones I'm most familiar with, and they do me well. So those are the ones that I personally use the most. Okay. In this class, your learning strategies are going to include your course content, osmosis videos, and your readings. We have discussion boards, quizzes, so on and so forth, and I can let you guys read that here on your own time. We are going to be using the discussion board formats in a little different way than we did in Patho, and we do that because it helps students engage with the course content, it helps you to apply knowledge, it helps foster deeper learning, and it helps build a community through facilitating peer-to-peer learning, and this enables you guys as students to learn from each other's interpretations and solutions. So case studies will be woven within assignments as well as the discussion board, and those case studies allow you as students to articulate your understanding of a complex scenario in a written format that helps foster reflection and critical thinking. Similar to previous course, this is our weighted percentage of the grading. So of course it has to equal 100%. We have our discussion boards, assignments, quizzes, exams, and exam critique or review. The quizzes and exams are both worth 35% of your total grade, followed by the discussion boards, followed by the assignments, and then the exam reviews 5%. Same thing as last time, our grading scale is very straightforward. An A is anything 90 to 100, and a B is 80 to 89. Anything under an 80% is a C and is considered not passing. To successfully complete this graduate course, you must meet the following criteria. You have to achieve at least an 80%, which is a B, in the course overall, and you have to complete all the learning activities, assignments, quizzes, and the exams. What does that mean? I've said this before. I think if you are the most stellar student and you nail 100% of all of your activities and it gets to be the last 2 weeks of the year and you figure out, hey, I could just not turn in these assignments and I'm still going to pass. That's not allowed. You have to do the content, and the reason for that is simple. All of the content is important. There is no content that would be okay for you to totally skip, because all of it isn't going to be important to you for practice. Same thing as last time, all of your grades are not rounded. If you get a 79.9%, you do not pass the course. It has to be 80% or greater. If you receive an unsatisfactory grade, that does not meet the standard for competency, and it will affect how you progress through the program. Please look at the website for Augustana's policies on withdrawals and incomplete grades. They're listed in your student handbook. You only have a certain amount of time to do your drop or add period for the course, so please follow the graduate office program section for all of those dates and procedures for drop or add. It is expected that assignments will be submitted according to the established deadlines. Assignments submitted past the deadline date without prior approval and discussion with the course faculty, who is me, will have a 20% per day deducted from the assignment grade. Communication regarding extensions for an assignment will be considered on a case-by-case basis for extenuating circumstances with communication prior to the due date, and that is the responsibility of you as a student to communicate with me as your faculty. Okay. Extenuating circumstances mean unforeseen, unavoidable, out of your control circumstances that happen. I've said this last semester, I'll say it again this semester just to make sure it's clear. If you get sick, and you have 103 fever, and the test is due tomorrow, and today was the day you were going to take it, between now and the next 24 hours when it's due, and you realize I am so sick that is never going to happen, you need to reach out and we will discuss that. I will work with you. I'm here to help you succeed. If you have something that pops up that's unexpected and unavoidable, life is going to happen, we'll figure it out. That's part of being a graduate student. What I don't do well with is when it is something that has been known for a while. So again, if over, Halloween, you're supposed to go out of town on this epic girls trip, and you're going to be gone 5 days to, Puerto Rico or something, and that's the weekend that exam is due, you can't just assume that you're going to be able to turn it in late. You need to be an adult learner and get it done ahead of time, because you would not get an extension for those kind of situations. Okay. All of your written assignments must be submitted either as typed into the assignment itself or submitted as a Word document or PDF file. Okay. Remember that we are all going to be professionals in our behavior, both online and offline, in this nursing program, and you can go to the Augustana Nursing Department policies related to expectations and professional behavior in the classroom. Remember that you are also responsible for checking your emails and the Canvas website to get updates or other announcements through the course. Civility is listed there. We have our ANA Code of Ethics listed there. There is the Canvas Originality Detection. Canvas incorporates an originality detection service, so students will utilize this to ensure that there is no issue with academic integrity or plagiarism. Next listed there is your academic dishonesty policy and the Augustana's Honor Code. The Honor Code states, "On my honor, I pledge that I have upheld the Honor Code, and that the work I have done on this assignment has been honest, and that the work of others in this class has, to the best of my knowledge, been honest as well." Consequences for violation of the Honor Code can result in a minimum grade of 0 or failure for the assignment in question, or even a failing grade for the entire course. Please refer to the Department of Nursing Graduate Student Handbook and the policies and procedures for the most complete details. Okay. This talks about what plagiarism is. That's standard in these as well. All right, asynchronous exams. This course is going to use now Respondus Lockdown Browser for online exams, which require the use of a webcam and a microphone. Utilizing a secure web browser will restrict access to other applications, websites, or functions during testing, and this is done to maintain academic integrity during online assessments. Also, this creates an environment that is like the environment during your board certifications, thus better preparing you as the student for your future certification exams. You will be allowed to access the e-book through the website approved for Respondus for this course during the exams. So what happens is that you'll log into Respondus, and through that you'll go and log into your exam. Respondus runs and checks and make sure that no other programs are running on your computer, and then you're allowed to log into your ebook because it's an approved website. So you will have access to that. Otherwise, the student will be taking your exam in a private location without others present in the room. So you need to make sure when you're going to take your exam, sure, it can be in your office or in your bedroom, but it needs to be where the door is shut. You can scan the camera around the room and show that there's nobody else in there with you, and that you have no other resources at your table. No books, no notes, no note cards, those kind of things. Students are responsible for ensuring that you have access to a stable internet connection and a suitable testing environment. Students are encouraged to test your webcam and your internet connection before each exam. The example I give is that in a certain circumstances, when I was in graduate school for my doctorate and I had an exam situation with this same thing, and it had to be done during a 24-hour shift that I was at the hospital, I had made arrangements to be able to go to the doctor's lounge where they did have a private dictation room on a weekend. And I went down there and practiced and did it all and found out that I did not have actual good, stable internet connection. So my plan was foiled, and I had to scramble at the last minute to make other arrangements of how I was going to be able to do the test securely with a Respondus lockdown. So it is something that you should consider to make sure that you have practiced the environment that you're going to be in and that everything works according to plan. Students are encouraged then to test your connection before each exam, and the further information and tutorials I will post in Canvas, including troubleshooting and support information. At the end of every semester, we still have our Learning Experience Questionnaire, as noted there. So that is our syllabus. Okay, next we're going to go on to the home page of the syllabus, which we've done. Now let's discuss our course format. If we go back to our Canvas page, again, I'm still in the student view. Let me get out of that for a second. All right, back to the course here. Then you're going to see your course calendar here. Let's go through this. Alright, same thing as we did in pathophysiology. You're going to have kind of a color-coded thing here. So the first 3 weeks are going to be a section that will be followed by an exam 1 due Sunday at the end of this section here. So each week the chapters are listed here that are assigned. For the most part, it keeps going in sync until towards the bottom of the course when we do have a couple odds chapters tucked in odd places. So please make sure you look and see which chapters are for that section and that week. Every week you're going to have assigned osmosis videos, same as we did for pathophysiology. Every week you will have typically a assignment, a discussion board, and a quiz. For week 1 it is a little different because it's the start of the semester. So this first one here is a little bit different, but as you can see as we go down for like week 4, we have the 4 chapters we will be doing. They're going to have a discussion board post due with the primary posting due on the Thursday of the week and your response posting due on Sunday. You're going to have a week 4 assignment on Canvas. You're going to have a set of osmosis videos to watch. You'll have a quiz, and then the exam 1 review would be due as well. And of course these are the chapters assigned for reading. Same thing with the next week, and so on and so forth. The week after the exam is always going to be the week with the review due at that time. And then it goes down into the end of the semester. So you have 4 total exams. Again, they are not cumulative. So everything for exam 4 is only going to be content that was done in this pink here. Same thing with exam 3 is only going to cover the content in that light green. Exam 2 is the content in blue, and Exam 1 is this content in this peach color here. So print this off. Make sure once the semester actually begins that you look back to this and make sure you have the most up-to-date version, because I do have a possibility of updating things between the time of this recording and between that and when the semester actually begins. So print this off as your Bible, so to speak, here. So let's get into then next the course format and how this is going to look. Okay. So on your side here, the same thing. I've arranged every week into modules. So week 1, the start here. When you log into here, it's going to tell you the link to your osmosis videos. I tried to put in a general guesstimate of how much time the videos will take, just to help you prepare for your week. So week 1 is about an hour and 10 minutes worth of videos. So you are expected to read the chapters, which is chapter 1 through 5, read the content in the book. You're expected to watch your osmosis videos. For this module and this week, I did do recorded lectures for you to have as well to listen to, and I have downloaded the PowerPoint. And then you also, so this is your learning strategies for the week. Okay, so you have to read the chapters, watch your osmosis, and if you'd like to, watch the recorded lectures here. These are not very long for each chapter in this section. Okay. If you go back to your module week 1, that was the Start Here page where all your learning was found. Then in this week, we don't have a regular assignment, but you do have a discussion board. Only one post without a response this week because it's a shorter week. And then you have a quiz for every chapter. As you can see, 5, 32, 11, 11. Some of them have different varied amounts of questions. Okay? This is a 3 credit course. So just like we talked previous semester about adult graduate learning, you can plan to spend at least 3 hours per credit each week devoted to that class. So a 3-hour course in advanced pharmacotherapeutics, we should anticipate at least 9 hours of your time that is freely and totally dedicated to uninterrupted attention to pharmacology. Okay? Meaning that between the readings of the chapters, the osmosis videos, the assignments, the quizzes, just those things for the week, and the discussion board, it's heavy. It's heavy material. It's different material than you've learned in the past. And it's a lot. And you get through that first week, you complete all of it, and you just roll right into the next week and you do it all over again. Chapter readings, osmosis videos, assignments, discussion boards, quizzes, and possibly an exam. Okay. When you go down in here into week 2, you can see that we have chapters 5 through 10. Questions range from 15, 34, 15, 20, 12, so on and so forth. The quizzes are open book, open note. You can take as long of a time as you want to take them, but once you open the quiz, you have to finish the quiz. So typically you want to wait to open the quiz until you've completed that week of your learning and teachings. So you would start here for week 2. This one only has a 15-minute osmosis video attached to this series. Then you have my lectures on this as well. Okay. And then of course you go back to your module, your assignments are going to be listed there. And we are in week 2, so you have your discussion board is still only one post, no response, and no additional assignment. Okay. When we get to week 4, this is when you are going to have your first discussion board with a leader and a response post, and your week 4 assignment questions. So I just call them week 4 questions. Okay. So let's start here again for your module. You have about 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's a longer osmosis. You've got chapters 15 through 18. As you can see, after week 3, I have not recorded lectures for these. And the reason for that is I would just be repeating what's in osmosis. They do a fabulous job of explaining the content much better than I'm going to. So just the weeks 1, 2, and 3 did I record content because there wasn't as much osmosis videos to watch. However, for week 4 and going forward, there's not, right at this time anyway, any recorded lectures because the osmosis videos do a great job. So, same thing as before. If you go into the link of the osmosis video, it should take you to your playlist. So this is the playlist for week 4. And as you can see, there's a list of videos that are done there for you to read. Okay, let's jump into a discussion board so you can see what I'm talking about here. So the response versus a post. So your week 1, there's only a one-time post. You don't have to respond to anything. So you log into the discussion board for that week. Let's jump over to my view instead. So week 1 discussion board, chapters 1 through 4, there's no response. So just this week you will go into here and do this and then respond here. Okay? So weeks 1, 2, and 3 are simple, straightforward. Only one post, or excuse me, 1 and 2, only one post, no response needed. By the time we get down to chapter 3 then, week 3, excuse me, you're going to see that things are a little different, where you're going to have a discussion board chapter, and then, or excuse me, a discussion board part 1, and then a discussion board part 2 that work together, and you can see here that Abby's the leader. So let's log into that one, and what does that mean? So, Abby is the leader this week. So if Abby is the leader, I want to go through this so that we aren't confused. Abby is going to answer the case study questions below. So as you look down here, there's chapter 11, 12, 13, 14. So Abby is going to read through these and do these questions. Okay, you guys as respondents do not have to do it. So Brooklyn, Jenny, Paige, and Piper, you do not have to answer these questions here. So Abby, you're going to answer the case study questions, and in this thread you're going to post those. And you're going to write an additional 2 questions for each chapter case study for your peers to respond to. Okay? So in other words, you're going to walk in, this is a case study about a 50-year-old patient with swollen ankles. You're going to answer questions 1, questions 2. So what I would recommend is you answer and just write, chapter 11 case study answers, chapter 12 case study answers, so on and so forth. And after you answer chapter 14 case study answers, then do questions for peers and write them. So you are going to come up with a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 additional questions for your peers to answer. Okay? And you're going to post them here by Thursday so that your peers have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to answer. Okay? You guys that are respondents by Thursday, as Abby's working on her part, you guys on this same thread are going to write 2 multiple choice questions about each chapter this week and post them here in this thread without your answers, so that the other students can look at those and see how they would answer that multiple choice question. So we are learning from each other, and we're helping prepare for quizzes and test content. Okay? So everybody has something to do Thursday by midnight. Abby's the leader, so she's on her own. Everybody else is the respondent, and you're writing the test questions. Okay. Then on Friday, you would go to the part 2. So now we go to week 3, discussion board part 2, which is the response post. Okay, so now Abby has something different. The respondents have something different, and this is different here. Okay, so Abby is actually due the following Tuesday. I'll explain that in a second. So Brooklyn, Jenny, Paige, and Piper, you're going to come into this thing and you're going to do these 3 things. Number 1, post your multiple choice questions again in this thread, but with the correct answers. Number 2, you're going to go to those questions created by the leader and answer them here. So you would do chapter 11, leader questions 1 and 2, chapter 12, leader questions 1 and 2, and you're going to answer your responses. Everybody's going to be able to see how you answered that, because it's helpful for others to learn from your peers. Okay? And then by Sunday, you guys, Brooklyn, Jenny, Paige, and Piper, you have extra things listed down here. So you have, let's start with Piper. Piper this week. So Piper, you're going to post your questions with answers. You're going to answer the questions created by Abby. And Piper, in her post, is also going to research Pheno by Niox and write about it. Okay? Then, I'm going to skip Abby for a second. Paige, you're going to post your questions you made and your answers. You're going to answer the questions created by Abby. And Paige is going to research Uptravi, Selexipag, and write about it. Jenny, same thing. She's going to do it, but she's going to write about Journavax, or whatever this is, Journavix. And then Brookley, you're going to research Vericiguit. I can't say these words either. Okay, and you're going to write. So you guys are Piper, Paige, Jenny, and Brookley. You're going to do all of that, and you're going to have it posted by Sunday at midnight. Then, because Abby's the leader, her part 2, she is going to create a Word document, and she is going to gather between Sunday and Tuesday. She is going to gather all of the test questions with all of the answers in a document. Then she is going to gather your guys' answers and summarize and condense the new therapy or products that you all were individually assigned to into one document. Focus on bullet points or highlights of each to promote student understanding. And you will have to post something to see everybody's posts, Abby. So when you go to log on after Sunday at midnight, you need to post something. So you can write in this thread, response post pending. And once you submit that, then you're going to be able to see your peers' response. And you're going to take that information, summarize it, create a Word document, and then you are going to email that document to everybody in the class and to me, and it is due by Tuesday at 23:59. So you guys, at the end of this week, after Abby is your leader, everybody else, you are going to get an email from Abby that is going to have everybody's test questions summarized in one area and a summary and condensed version review of all of the products or new drugs or new whatever that you were assigned into one spot, so you can have that as well as information to build on. Okay? So that was week 3. Let's talk about one more, because I don't want you guys to get too confused about these things, because it's different than what we did last time. So if we go to week 4, you're going to start here, and in week 4, you have about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Notice that I do not do any recorded lectures anymore, because the osmosis videos are great. You don't need me. I would just be repeating osmosis. So you need to read chapters 15, 16, 17, 18. You need to watch the 2 hours and 20 minutes of osmosis videos. Okay? I recommend you print off the PowerPoints as another study guide or note guide to help you, or at least look at them. Okay? After you do that part, the next part in the module means that you're going to go to the week 4 questions. So this is not discussion board, this is an assignment to everybody. In this assignment, you get a case study for chapter 15. You have these to answer here, 1 through 4. Case study for 16, for 17, and for 18. Everybody does this and submits it individually. No one else can see your work, and you get it, and it's assigned to me, and I grade these. So those are the individual questions that you have every week, starting on week 4 moving forward. Okay, so you're going to have to do those. Then you're going to go into the discussion board thing. And on week 4, now, Brookley is the leader. So Abby, you're no longer the leader, you become a respondent. So now this week, leader is Brookley. Okay? So Brookley's going to answer the case studies below and post her answers in this thread for this week. And Brookley is going to write 2 additional questions for each chapter case study for the peers to respond to. Okay? While she is doing that, Abby, Jenny, Paige, and Piper are the respondents. So by Thursday of this week, you are going to write 2 multiple choice questions about each chapter. You're going to post them here by Thursday without the answers. Okay? And then Brookley's going to go through and do her assignment. So everybody has something to post in part 1 of this week. After Thursday, we'll move on to the discussion board part 2. And now Brookley has the summary part. So Abby, Jenny, Paige, and Piper, you guys are still the respondents. So now between Thursday at midnight to Sunday at midnight, you need to see what Berkeley posted for your questions to answer, and you have 3 things to do. You need to repost your multiple choice questions, but with the answers. You need to go find the questions posed by Berkeley and answer all the questions created by Berkeley. And then, by Sunday, you also need to do the assignments noted below. Okay? So if we go down here, Piper, you are going to research anti-P3 antibodies and write it up. Abby's going something, Jenny's doing something, Piper's doing something. Also, you guys, Paige has another one, Vibrant. Abby has Ibsrela. Jenny, you're researching vonazepam, clonoprazan. And Piper, you're researching the breakthrough in modern immune therapy, and you're writing those up. So you guys that are respondents have to do all of that by Sunday. Then, because Berkeley's the leader, she, between Sunday and Tuesday, she's going to write in this thread, response post pending. Once you write in there, Berkeley, then you're going to be able to see your peers' answers after Sunday. Then you're going to do the same thing where you're going to create a Word document to summarize the test questions, the response posts, and their answers, and you're going to email it to everybody, including me and your peers, by the Tuesday at midnight. Okay. So when you go through to the modules here now, starting week 3, week 4, and so forth, you can see that. So week 3, Abby was the leader, everybody else is a respondent. Week 4, Berkeley's the leader, everybody else is a respondent. Week 5, Jenny is the leader, everybody else is a respondent. Week 6, Paige is the leader, everybody else is a respondent. Week 7, Piper's the leader, everybody else is the respondent. Week 8, it starts back over, and Abby, you're the leader again, with everybody else being a respondent. And it goes on in this pattern all the way through to the end of our discussion boards. Okay? So it's a little different. So once we get into really week 3, the full throttle starts. So every week you're going to have lectures, osmosis and PowerPoints and the readings. Then everybody's going to have something due Thursday, and then Abby's second part would be due the next Tuesday, and everybody else would be Sunday. Everybody has the questions for the week to answer as a separate assignment, and then everybody needs to do the quizzes, and that week you have your exam worth 55 points, which is going to be open book only, and you have 2 hours and 30 minutes to do 55 questions. Okay. Then week 4, same thing. You have your readings with your osmosis here, all the chapters to look at. Then in week 4, you're going to have your questions to answer based on a case study. Everybody does theirs individually. Okay. Everybody does their own. And then the same thing, you're going to have a 2-part discussion board with everybody has something due Thursday. Berkeley has something due Thursday. The respondents have something due Thursday. Then the next week, part 2, Berkeley's going to have something due the following Tuesday, and everybody else has to have theirs done by Sunday, as noted here. And the process repeats itself. Okay. So that's the course. For your assignments, and your discussion boards, and your quizzes, and your exams, and your exam review are all the things that you are going to get graded. Okay. So again, lots of material. Lots and lots of material. You're going to have to study for your exams. Studying off of the quizzes is going to be a great way to study for your exams as well. The osmosis videos help supplement and help you understand the material. Because you're now on Respondus without your notes available, I am not asking questions off of osmosis. So let's say you read everything for week 1, okay? and you talk about something in the osmosis videos that is not in your text, that is supplemental information that's going to make you a better practitioner, but is not going to be tested. Okay? So the test questions are coming from your readings, and the osmosis helps supplement that. Okay? So yes, you must listen to your osmosis. I think you will struggle immensely if you didn't. But in terms of focusing on memorizing osmosis, just listen to it and absorb it. The questions are coming based off the content of the book. Okay. Again, I did want to point out down into the further on, so like in week 8, we're on 31, 32, 33, 34. It goes in order. But when you get to week 10, we jump from 35, 36, 37, 38 in week 9, and then week 10 we're doing 39, 42, 43. And then in week 11 we're doing 40, 41, 44, 45, 46. So there's a little bit of jumping around in the chapters, so please pay attention to that. Okay? And then we go all the way down till the end of the last thing. Week 15 is your final, which is actually going to be due December 5th. I've not finished these quizzes at the time of this posting yet. That's why they say they're worth 0 points, if you happen to notice that detail. Okay, so we've talked about our weekly readings, your osmosis, your assignments, quizzes, discussion boards, exams, and exam review. And that is the course. Again, just like Patho, I think for most of you, even though it felt like it was never going to end, it also felt like it went by extremely quickly with a ton of data dumping on you of things to know and to memorize. Okay? The thing that I would point out again is time management remains critical. You have to give yourself the time to do this content. If you are trying to work full-time and you have children and you have life outside of work, you have to separate time dedicated, uninterrupted to doing your pharmacology. Okay? These courses are your foundational courses. They matter so much. Okay, you want to learn this material. You want to learn this material if you want to pass boards, for sure, and you want to learn this material if you want to take good care of human lives moving forward. So you have to give yourself enough time. If you find yourself struggling, please reach out. That is what I am here for, and we can see how we can work together to get you back on course. Okay? Just like in pathophysiology, please do not get behind. I think it would be really difficult to dig yourself out of falling behind in this course. That would be challenging. Okay? If an unexpected circumstance pops up, you're sick, your kids are sick, we get a devastating nature event, God forbid a death in the family, whatever the case may be, please reach out and communicate with me. If you sent me something as an email and I didn't respond to you, email me again. I certainly don't plan to do that, but I don't ever want to miss something. So if you need me, email me, text me, let me know how I can help you guys. Okay? Give me the grace and be patient with me. I'll give you the grace and be patient with you as well, and we will get through this semester to succeed. This course does not have any options for extra credit. This course does not have any options for extra credit. So doing well on your quizzes and well on your exams is an absolute must. Remember, we're now instituting a change with the Respondus Lockdown web browser. So please, please, please reach out if you have any technical questions. I'll be posting it in the cover page, the home page of our Canvas of where you can reach out, what the technical support is, all of those things. Okay? All right. This ends my welcome and orientation video. Jump in, get started. I am really excited for this course, you guys, because this is an excellent book. It's the latest edition. We have the most up-to-date material. I learn just as much sometimes as you guys do because pharmacology is forever changing. That's why we're doing this, looking at these new drugs. There's just no way for all of us to stay up to date on every new drug that hits the market, because there's just a ton. It is such a fast-growing field. Okay. And please let me know if you need assistance or how I can help you. Lean on each other. Please make sure that you get the discussion boards turned in on time, because if you don't do your work, your peers can't move on either, and it makes everything really challenging. Okay? All right, everybody. As always, reach out with any questions, and here's to a great semester. Bye-bye.